Hey, today I'm going to talk about three movies I really like that are all female-centric, and their titles are Funny Face, Three Women, and Wild Rose. It's gonna be good. First up is Funny Face. This is a 1957 Audrey Hepburn movie. It's my second one so far this year. I like the last one so much that I needed to watch another one, and so I went with this. The basic premise is there really isn't a premise. There's not really a story. It's just it's a musical and it's fun and funny and just whimsical and stuff, and it's so colorful. I guess there technically is a story in that these people from this magazine find Audrey Hepburn at a bookstore and they're like, oh, you have such a funny face. It'd be weird if we made you a model, right? Because you have such a weird, funny face. And then they make her a model and take her to Paris and stuff, and it's all whimsical and great. But yeah, I crazy love this movie. Out of all the Audrey Hepburn movies I've seen so far, this is easily my favorite. It's just so much fun and so whimsical and so silly. The music is great. My favorite song is easy the first song of the movie. It's all about how everything needs to be pink, and it's great and just ridiculous. And then I love all the dancing and stuff in it too. My favorite dance in this movie is easily when Audrey Hepburn gets her own little dance bit. There's no singing to it. She's in this little cafe that's all beatnik and stuff. And there's I don't know, freestyle jazz or something playing in the background. I don't really know music. And she's just it's kind of it's very expressive dancing, almost like interpretive dance-ish. And she just has such a master control of her body, and it's so gracious and just great, and it's strangely powerful. And then it ends with one of my favorite moments in the movie, which is she hops up onto this piano and then just starts playing it like this, and it's oh my god, can you not be so freaking adorable? How are you so adorable? What are you doing? And it's just, oh, I love it so much. I did have a big complaint about the movie, and it's the same thing with Charade, and that it's Audrey Hepburn's co-star is literally twice her age. Fred, what's his last name? And Fred, in real life, had two children that one was a little bit older than Audrey and one was a little bit younger than her. So he's literally having a romance with someone that's the same age as his kids. And he looks like such an old man in this. He doesn't look like some charming, handsome dude. He just looks like a grandpa. He's so wrinkly and stuff. Not to old shame him, but he just looks like an old man. I don't see how anyone would want to see this beautiful young woman with this wrinkly old man. I had a giant smile on my face the entire time, up until he kissed her just randomly. And I'm like, that came out of nowhere. There was no build-up to it. There was no chemistry between you two. And it was definitely uninvited and just all kinds of wrong. What makes it even worse too is the story doesn't even need this weird romance plot to it. It's barely in there, and just every time it comes up, it's awkward. And you can easily lift it out and replace it with just more of what does Audrey want to do with her life, and what maybe she falls in love with Paris because they go to Paris, or maybe she just wants to do more philosophical stuff. Even with my big gripe with this movie of the weird, incredibly inappropriate love story with zero chemistry, I still crazy love this movie. It's so adorable and so great. I recommend the hell out of it, even though it has the weirdest romance that I don't need. It doesn't destroy this movie. It's just, you kind of ignore it and you're fine. It's great. I would recommend the hell out of it. Next up is Three Women. This is a 1977 movie starring Shelley Duvall, my second one of her. She's the whole reason I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see more of her acting range because I watched her in Popeye and loved her there. And obviously I've seen The Shining as well, so I wanted to see what other things she's done. And so led me to this movie, and I'm so glad it did. It also stars Sissy Spacek, who I'll get back to later, and I have so much I want to say about her. So the basic premise is that Sissy moves to this new town in California and meets Shelley at their work, and they kind of become friends, and then are just sort of living their lives after that. But the music is really suspenseful and thriller-esque. So the entire time while you're watching kind of really mundane stuff happening, it's just sort of this really, really intense and strange music and eerie music. You're just constantly kind of on your toes, being like, why is this music happening right now? It's so like, this is just regular stuff happening, right? There's nothing weird right now. What's so weird? Why are you doing this weird music? And then like a lot of the movie goes by and you're just like, it's still just like regular life, but it's kind of sort of weird a little bit-ish. Like there's some weird moments, but it's not like that weird, right? And then a good ways through the movie, there's kind of more stuff is revealed, but it also just kind of brings up more questions. And it's just like, what is going on? That's the main question you just keep asking yourself over and over and again in this movie. It's just, what is going on? But it's at the same time, it's also really slow and nothing happens for a lot of it. But again, it's so good. It's really, really good. And then that ending, it kind of comes out of nowhere, and it's a metaphorical ending. Kind of like how Save Yourselves was a metaphorical ending, but where in that movie, it's more so like you're playing on your phone, you get out of the bus, and then you look up and you're like, oh, I'm in the country. How did I get here? This is weird. Whereas in this movie, you're on the bus playing on your phone, and then suddenly you get hit by a dump truck. It just works better, and it smacks you, but it just works. You're not going to guess what happens at the end. You're not. I don't see that possible. The reason why this kind of out there ending, metaphorical ending works in this movie is because the entire time you are asking yourself, what is going on? So it makes sense that the ending kind of doesn't answer that, but you have to think about the movie and really discuss the movie to kind of sort of piece together about what like the metaphors and stuff were, what all the characters really were, and what was going on. And it's so great. It definitely is slow though, so it's not really for everyone. You may have noticed I only talked about 2 actors when the title is called 3 Women, and that's kind of part of the thing too, is you're just trying to figure out who this third woman is, and like what their relationship is with this third woman, like literally who the third woman is, like not what she is about. You are wondering what she is about, but also just which specific woman it is, because there's a lot of different women in this movie. And you do kind of get an answer. I would say you get an answer with that at the end of the movie. But then it just opens up more questions, and it's so well done. Speaking of the actors, though, Shelley Duvall does great. I think I liked her performance a bit more in Popeye. She does solid here. She's really sad in this movie. But the real standout here for me was definitely Sissy Spacek. First off, she is just incredibly adorable. She also just had a really great performance all around. It's just, I definitely want to watch way more of her stuff. I've seen her in Old Man and the Gun, but she's also an old lady in that. I kind of want to see more of like when she was around this age, when she's around my age. Yeah, so I don't necessarily recommend this movie to people unless like you are good with slow movies and like you're okay with like having a lot of ambiguity. Because you definitely don't get answers. You get some answers, but like it's not cut and dry what happens, and it's really good. It's really, really good. And lastly is Wild Rose. This is a 2019 movie starring Jessie Buckley, my second one of her. I wanted to watch it just because of her, because I love her so much in Beast. The basic premise of this is that Jessie plays this Scottish woman who is obsessed with country music and wants to make it big as a country singer. And the whole movie is just about like hope and following your dreams, but also like how you're your own worst enemy at times, which I really, really love that part, because it's just like in so many movies they make like, oh, this random person is the whole reason you can't do the thing you really want to do, when really, more often than not, it's your own fault as why you're not doing the thing that you really, really want to do. And it kind of reminded me of the Florida Project, like the mom from the Florida Project, because she's just like, she's not always kind of like scheming and stuff, but it's that same sort of idea of just like kind of always trying to do a thing that maybe isn't on the most up and up. And I did end up putting it in the really liked category, but it wasn't until the end when I kind of could sit with the movie, because I didn't necessarily connect with it the most, just because of it's country music. I'm not a country music person. If you like country music, you're going to enjoy the music in this movie. I think they did a great job. I just, in general, don't connect with country music. But I did connect with a lot of the emotion of the movie. The movie ends on a very emotional note, and I was kind of a little teary-eyed afterwards. And then Jessie's mom in the movie says something near the end about like following your dreams, and I'm just like, why you gotta be that way? make me cry. Stop making me cry. It's yeah. I also really like that it's very female-centric. There are male characters in the movie, but it's definitely more about relationships between different women. And just, it felt very natural. And we obviously need more stories that are female-centric like this. And it's just, this is a great example of how to make it feel very, very natural. So yeah, I think I'd recommend this one, especially if you like Jessie as much as I do. Or if you're a fan of country music, you're probably going to enjoy it a bit more than me, even though, again, I did really like it. So yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Alrighty, so final rankings for today are Funny Face is sitting at number 4 in the really liked. And then behind it is Three Women at number 7, also in the really liked. And then bringing up the rear, even though it's still great, is Wild Rose at number 8 out of a total of 18 movies.